Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate Star Wars Unlimited Edition. This is episode 28. Sacrifices are not made in vain. Yes, folks, tonight we're going to have week 3 planetary qualifier analysis, as well as covering last week spoilers, which is pretty much all the spoilers. There's, there's going to be a handful, like 20 or 30 maybe that are left after this, but there's, for the most part, FFG has given us all of the spoilers at all of the times. So tonight we're going to be covering a lot of that. If you're new to the show or new to the thing, help us hit our subscriber count, throw in a subscriber. This will be the last week. Next week, we're going to be giving away a Vader and a Grogu card to a lucky fan of the show. So I have them right here, ready to go and get shipped out. Just got to get a few more subscribers and we can make that happen. So if you haven't subscribed to us, tell all your friends about it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll tell you what, we'll happily be able to give those away. With that being said, let's bring in my co-host for tonight. Please welcome the benchwarmer himself, Mr. Alex. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing okay. Had my store showdown earlier today. So kind of recovering from that and yesterday's at RRW. So it's fun. Good times.
Awesome. Also joining me with the ugliest hat in the world is JJ. How are you tonight, sir? You should not wear that hat anymore.
I feel like you've cursed the hatch just based on how bad my team is doing right now. But I'm doing all right, man. Just enjoying my last few days as a 39-year-old. And yeah, man, just getting ready for the my long birthday weekend and / vacation that I absolutely need. So yeah, I'm ready for it.
Well, y'all all have to let me know tonight if my face is too bright. I feel like everything's shiny tonight, so I'm messing around with some new lights I bought. Hopefully getting ready for being able to do some tabletop streaming. I spent money I probably shouldn't have spent because it was a very expensive weekend for me as it was. But I bought some new lights for the show, and I bought a stand to hold a camera to try some tabletop streaming so that we can maybe play some in-person or I guess stream games. So hopefully we'll be able to get some of that going for you all with set 3. We got a bunch of cards coming out. We'll let JJ play his one-off weird decks, and then I'll play crazy meta decks, and then he'll not understand why he's lost every game. Okay, we got to go all the way back, right? Like, so we originally, this show used to be solely an X-Wing show, right? And that's all we did was X-Wing stuff. And then we kind of moved into SWU. And I was very reluctant to get into SWU until JJ said, no, Chris, you got to try this. And then the first game we play, I won. And I was like, all right, well, maybe it is good, because if I could beat JJ without ever knowing how to play the game, it can't be that bad. And then we get into the game, and JJ wants to just play his weird one-off decks that... I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a new leader that we'll see tonight that will give it that. I was going to do tier ranking, but I don't have the energy tonight to put all of that together. So next week we will be doing our way too early tier ranking for leaders, since we officially have all the leaders spoiled. We will be doing that next week in preparation for release week. And we'll talk a little bit about what we feel will be good in, draft and sealed next week as well. Plus any PQ qualifiers that happen next weekend. I don't think there's as many, but I don't know. I thought that we were getting close to them being done, but then there was like 10 more this week. So I don't know. Crazy. Also, I got to hang out with Alex a little bit on Thursday. I took the day off and went out to Detroit for a KMFDM concert. So that was pretty fun. Got to hang out with Alex. Alex met me there. Alex had VIP tickets, though. He was fancy.
I fell into getting a VIP ticket just by randomly showing up to a store. Yeah.
Nice.
It was fun. It was a good concert. I enjoyed them.
Yeah. Afterwards, didn't get to hang out with Alex afterwards, but we did get to meet Sasha from KMFDM afterwards, so that was pretty fun. He was smoking a cigarette on the side of the bus, and I felt bad, but then I was like, well, you're outside, so... So we got to meet him, and then we went and saw Pig Destroyer the next night, which was so insane. And you want to talk about a workout and a half. I was like, well, I see Pig Destroyer, it seems like every 7 to 10 years. So I'm going to go down in the pit, and I'm going to just screw the world and thank God I don't have to work the next day because I got the living crap beat out of me. And I didn't even get into the pit. I just stood on the front edge of the pit by the stage, but I was literally like one person back from the front of the stage, got to high five JR a bunch of times, walked out dripping in sweat and probably beer. I think somebody spilled a beer on me too. So there was that.
So I gotta say, I've never heard of Pig Destroyer, but it sounds like an awesome name of a barbecue guy. And just based on your description, I'm not sure if you're talking about like metal or a really nice barbecue pit, like
grindcore. You know,
yeah.
He's talking about getting sweaty. You have beer spilled on you. It really sounds like a barbecue pit. Just saying.
All right, it is not a barbecue pit. Though they do have in Chicago. They have these restaurants called Kuma's Corners, and they have different metal themed burgers and stuff like that. And they have a pulled pork sandwich called a Pig Destroyer there, and it's named after the band Pig Destroyer, obviously. But no, it was a grindcore concert, so it's like it's more metal than the average metal band. How about that? So if you like really fast lyrics and lots of screaming and extremely low guttural guitar noises mixed in with a little bit of electronic reverb and overlay, then it's for you.
That sounds like my cousins visiting. So yeah.
No, I don't think you appreciate. I'll tell you what, JJ, you come to Michigan, I'll take you to a grindcore concert. We'll go see something proper, and I'll take you in the pit. And then afterwards, you can curse my name, and you cannot wear your Giants hat because you'll get picked on. So, just forewarning. Forewarn you once.
Okay.
Anyway, we have like 30 spoilers.
We do. All right. Why don't we go ahead? All right. Hold on. Before we get into that, I want to go over who came out on top. So, you guys tell me. So we predicted leaders. You tell me who you think won this. JJ, who do you think won it?
I think you ended up pulling up ahead at the end by like 1 point.
I remember last week when I was ahead, so I'm going to just assume I continued to be ahead, which is hilarious because I don't really know Star Wars. So I just went with whatever was in the movies.
So, all right. Well, why don't we switch the screen? And the winner is Alex. It was not me, though. If we wanted to equate points, like I don't know how to equate JJ guessing Quinlan Voss, the like one-off weird character. And I don't know how to equate me saying Pelp will be a hero and a villain leader, but I did, and so I got no points for that. But I mean, I guess that right. But I did not win. I didn't come anywhere near.
Nice.
So Alex was only off by 2 leaders. JJ was off by 4 leaders, and I was off by like 5. So there you go. But I thought that was fun. We'll have to do it again when set 4 comes out, though. I don't know what the theme is for set 4. So
jump to light speed.
Yeah, but what's the actual theme?
Rack. Calling it now Rack.
All right. So our Galactic is that we have a lot of spoilers tonight. We have 4 leaders to go over. 4 leaders, which is just crazy to me that we got 4 leaders coming in 1 week. I don't know why they didn't give us 2 the next week, but either which way, we have a whole bunch of information for you. So I don't know who wants what. Who's excited about which one?
I want Palpatine, man. I just got her, man. I just got her. So we'll start with the very first one here on the board here. We got a yellow aspect, Chancellor Palpatine. Now on this side, he is a yellow and heroic aspect. He reads Republic and Official, which is really great for those official bodyguards on green. He reads. That's true. That's true. This means this leader starts the game with this side face up action. You tap this card. If a friendly heroic unit was defeated, this phase draw a card, heal 2 damage from your base, then flip this leader. And then on the flip side here, we got Darth Sidious, who is a yellow and villainy aspect card. Comes with 4 separatists and Sith aspect or keywords, and his action reads: tap this card. If you played a dark side card this phase, create a clone trooper token, deal 2 damage to each enemy base, and then flip this leader. So this is actually really great. There's a ton of versatility that you can have for this leader, as you can flip between the 2 sides there. You have a mix of both healing for your own base and then damage aspects for the other side, and you can constantly flip between the 2 and set yourself up for it. You do have to start with the light side face up first, which is fine. But if you start off with like a cheap light side unit, and then by turn 2, you're able to like put him into combat, potentially kill a unit or kill that unit that you sent out there, you're able to flip the card and turn it into Darth Sidious, and still draw a card and then have Darth Sidious available. You can really get some really good action out of this particular card. It definitely entices you to send your light side units to be more of the like to counter your opponent's units, and then your dark side units you can focus more to go against bases, so that we can push damage in there. So it's really requires you to kind of balance both on both sides. And then we start factoring in other aspects that can go really well with Palp, namely green. Green is really great because you can still put in super laser techs. You can still have like Admiral Akbar in there. There's just so many different combos that you can create with these dual aspects, that we're going to see a lot of different variations of the Palpatine decks.
All right, so JJ, I don't know. I don't agree with JJ 100%, but let's get Alex's view on Palpatine, and then what we could do is we can go from there, because I have some opinions too, which are going to probably differ from everyone.
Yeah, so Palpatine seems like okay, I guess. There's probably a deck that someone will make that makes it good. He seems so vulnerable to like bad draws. And like, but my draws are like my X-Wing dice, where it's just like, oh, this is just the worst. So if I have a whole hand of like villain cards, I don't do anything for the first turn. Right? And you lose so much tempo on not having a deployable leader. So you lose out on the body, which is rough. And then it's just like you have to go back and forth. You have to kill a heroic unit, which, if you have exploit, it gets much easier. I'm just not sure if the drawing the card, healing 2 damage, then dealing 2 damage, creating a clone trooper is worth splitting your deck into hero and villain. I don't know. Again, he seems okay. I know JJ wants him because it's just a whole bunch of one-offs, so he can just do some sort of crazy villain hero flip shenanigans. But it's like once he uses his ability to exhaust and flip, it's not like you can use, like, if you have Palpatine out and flip over to Sidious, you can't just play a villain card and Sidious flips back, right? So
I'm good to go.
Yeah, so I don't know. I see where I'm at, Alex, is I'm at the point where I would say I think that this is going to be a hard leader to build for, but I think this leader is going to be insane. And I do agree with you. It is hard not to have that leader ability, right? Like not having the ability to throw a leader unit onto the board to do anything. But he gets to, like, so whenever one of your units is defeated, right? You get to draw a card, heal 2 damage, and then you get to flip over to your dark side, right? And then you play a different card. And this is where some of the smuggle stuff comes into play, right? Depending on what you pair it up with. But there's a lot of smuggle cards that can work with this as needed, so that way you can hold more of the light and dark in your hand. I think that with enough tutor, I think this deck becomes really, really good. Personally, I think it becomes really, really good. But I think this is going to be a very hard to navigate. I mean, but we played Palpatine set 1, right? And like, this is just not going to be a control, and that as much as this is probably going to be some sort of a weird tempo, like, or maybe even like a burn deck. But the idea space behind this, to me, is amazing, right? Like, it's just, to me, that's where everything fits into it. Is we have a design space here that we haven't had before, and I'm extremely excited personally for that part of it, I guess is what I can say. But
I don't know. I also object to the fact that he even has a heroic side, because there's absolutely no reason for him to ever be considered a hero in any form of Star Wars media ever.
But he was considered a hero. He is considered a hero, though.
How? No,
because he was he was a senator in the Republic. It doesn't matter. They didn't know.
That just because they didn't know doesn't mean he wasn't evil. I mean, I get why they had to do it, because, you know, it's playing both sides or whatever. He's probably the only character. I guess you could do it with Anakin, but that'd be really lame to not have Anakin as a unit. So I get it, but I don't know. I object to that. I'm just not sure if he's worth, like, I mean, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, first turn play Battlefield Marine, second turn play Super Laser Attack. I get it. That's cool. I'm not sure the value of if you're getting it, like, how many times are you gonna flip a game, right? Like 5
or 6. I don't know.
And I mean, I'm not sure, because, you know, if you do it like 8 times a game, right? That's 8 damage to your opponent, and you heal 8, which you can do pretty easily. I mean, I guess you create 4 clone trooper tokens, draw 4 cards, I guess. Like, it just seems like if you want to play something, if you want to use yellow, it just seems like there's better leaders to do it. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, there's probably like one deck out there. Like I said with Kira, right? Like, I'm sure there's one deck that's pretty good, and, you know, we'll see on something else.
I don't know. Kira's done quite well for herself, thank you. I'm pretty high on Pelp personally, but not for the reasons JJ is. It's not because I want to play one-off effing cards. It's because to me I think there's something there. I've actually started to play around with building a Pelp deck. So, all right, so let's move on to the next one. We have Nala Se, which was kind of a surprise. I did not expect that, but I guess based on the fact that we were getting Bad Batch stuff and other clones, it makes sense. So essentially, she is a 4-cost villain blue 1/7 leader unit. Her leader side says ignore aspect penalties on clone units you play. She can flip on 4 resources, which seems pretty good. She is only a 1/7, but I don't know if that matters as much, because her ability basically says each friendly clone unit gains, when defeated, heal 2 damage from your base. So while she's active, you just heal damage for every time something gets defeated. So, I would say, I will tentatively say this could be a possible aggro leader. I have a deck where I've added all the clones into it in an effort to try and see if it works, because you could play them without aspect. So you can play Wrecker now in villain, which seems pretty good. Like, that seems actually really good to be able to play Wrecker in villain. And you could play green. You don't even have to play red to play Wrecker. So that seems even better. The fact that I can just run like another blue-green aggro style deck, maybe, or blue-yellow, or I don't know. Like, so just I have them all in there. I haven't finalized the deck, and I definitely have not tested it yet. So I have no idea if it's going to be any good or not. But I do feel that we already have seen this type of a leader with Hera, and Hera doesn't do much, personally. But there is 3 or 4 times the amount of clone units that there is Spectre units. So maybe that makes a difference.
Very, very much so. I like this leader a lot, honestly, because you do, like you said, you ignore all the aspects, so you can run a blue villainy, like a like Kira, like an ECL blue villainy shell, but also just all have Wrecker, like you can ECL out Wrecker with a blue villainy shell, which is scary. Watch out for the brain invaders with this one, but she seems really good. It's also interesting that she deploys on 4. It's probably just like her stats are just like, yeah, we're gonna have her deploy on 4, but I feel like you want to deploy her later to deal the stuff with blue. I mean, maybe like 5 or 6 resources, right? As long as you have a clone army, I guess, to sacrifice and everything for heal. I like her a lot. I haven't actively looked at what every clone is, but there's quite a bit in this set, so that's really cool. I like being able to just build a legitimate rainbow deck.
Yeah, I like her a lot. I do agree. Like playing her later kind of makes sense because you want to have her ability for later on when your base has enough damage for you to go out and heal. And especially if you could build up enough of a clone base where you can just reliably have units to protect her, have enough Sentinel units, get hopefully built up enough coordinate actions if you're using those particular troopers out there on the board just to get their abilities off reliably, especially if you're looking to have Sentinels out on the board and just have ways to just keep her protected until you're able to fully utilize her ability. It's definitely really nice. The bad thing is just being susceptible to some of those cards like Velda Dragon or I don't know, Vanquish and stuff. It's a give and take, but yeah.
So you know what, and this should be very obvious. You know what has the clone tag? The card clone. So you play that off aspect. You can run a red blue Nala say, drop a Crate Dragon and clone it if you wanted to.
Oh, that's so good. That's awesome.
So it's just a bunch of really cool stuff. Like you can clone anything, which I guess is probably what this lady did, right? Because she was those people that made clones, right? So
yeah,
I think this
she
is
wasn't
really cool.
just those people that made clones. This is like the head.
Dude, I'm going from the movies, man.
Head engineer.
Yeah, she spoke to Obi. Yeah, she was one of the people.
Yeah. That lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is really cool. I like the design space. I think rainbow decks are super fun. And again, you have a blue villainy shell, and then you can just add whatever clones you want, plus whatever aspect you're going to run. So I think there's a crazy amount of versatility there. You don't have to go overboard with the clones either. Child Sins might not be what you want in the deck unless you got a bunch of blue clones, but a bunch of cool stuff with that. I like it a lot. I think she's really cool.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We have Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, so Asajj is a yellow villain leader. She's a 3/4 for 4. As an action, you can exhaust her, attack with a unit. If you played an event this phase, it gets +1/+0 for this attack. And then when she comes out, again, a 3/4 for 4. And she does have the Force trait, separate than Sith traits, so the Force trait's really important there. And she gets on attack. If you played an event this phase, this unit gets +1/+0 for this attack and deals combat damage before the defender. So she shoots first, basically. Which is interesting. It's probably an aggro leader, right? And like Kylo. But the weird thing is, you are forced to play an event, and Yellow has a bunch of fantastic events, don't get me wrong. It's just there's a lot of times where you're like, oh, I want this board. I need to take care of this unit on this board. I would like my unit to attack first and then play the event later. So it's just the the timing issue might get interesting with her, but I think she's pretty solid. Up pretty high on her. Maybe I'm just a little bit iffy about playing events. I mean, there's yellow events, so like you should be able to get it off. Just a little apprehensive, I guess, about calling her just fantastic.
Yeah, I don't see it personally. Just myself, like I think it's okay because you're gonna get the +1. But you're only gonna get it probably like half the time, right? Like that's just, and she's only got 4 health again, so she falls into the same issues that Kylo runs into. Like Sabine has 5 health, right? And so Sabine's susceptible to takedown, but that's like that and Rival's Fall are it.
Force
and,
choke.
And Force Choke. I guess, yeah, Force Choke. But that's villain only. So, I don't know. Like I think the big thing here is that she could be really good or she's gonna just flop. That like I don't think there's like an in between. I don't think we're gonna see an okay Asajj deck. I'm not. I don't know. Like it is nice to see villain get some more aggro options, right? Like other than just having like a Kylo, and it's nice to see a little bit of that. And that's obviously what they're kind of going for. And again, you can play like a smaller deck. Like I mean, you can still play the Fire Spray, but it doesn't ready with her, right? Because you don't have a Jango or a Boba Fett, and so there's not as many units that just come in ready. So if you flood the board, you don't have events, and if you have events, you don't flood the board.
I do like Surprise Strike with her because you're playing an event and now you're hitting for like 7 and shooting first, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, like her leader flip is good, like fine. Like you can like waylay someone, right, or just whatever. So you can guarantee that she's gonna shoot first for 4, but it's still 4 damage. Like
Yeah.
you can kill.
Like for me, honestly, when I look at this, I think this like her ability is probably tied or married to Asteroid Sanctuary. Just giving a shield to a unit and then having that unit attack. So that way you're getting that boost of that one attack and not taking any damage back. That's one iteration I could really see with that. But at best, assuming that you're able to even pull all 3 of them in the same game, you're getting that maybe once or twice a game, and then you just have to rely on other events that they can play. It's not going to be the most reliable way to get her ability off, but I mean that's about it. Her leader ground unit ability is definitely a lot more relevant. Just her always being able to deal combat damage before the defender is definitely really nice. Having the force unit trait on there to give her like falling lightsaber and stuff could really help her out on offense. It's just having 4 damage really, or 4 health really makes her susceptible to like open fire before she can even get going. So, but
Leaders dying to open fire always feels really bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she's kind of funny with Evacuate. Where you just bounce everyone, just
That is
leaders.
funny. Yeah.
There's a couple 0 costs, like you got In Pursuit from the set, or you exhaust one of your friendly unit, exhaust enemy unit. That's free. So look the other way, which is probably better. Exhaust the unit unless they pay 2 resources. Those are ways of getting early cheap events. Again, like Surprise Strike probably seems the best with her. It's so awkward I need to play an event first, and then I get to do stuff with my aggro. If we're even doing aggro, but she seems like she would be an aggro leader, right?
Yeah, that's to me what she would be, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, she seems fine. Some people are ranking her pretty high, though, so maybe they're onto something that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, the last one is Mr. Anakin, Sky Daddy, whatever you want to call him.
Sky Daddy.
Tell me, JJ.
Sky Guy.
Yep, tell me about him.
Okay, so he is a red heroic aspect With the Force Jedi and Republic traits, he reads action, tap discard, deal 2 damage to your base, and then attack with the unit. If it's attacking a unit, it gets +2 attack for this turn. It deploys on 6 resources, and then it has 4 attack, 7th health, and it reads Overwhelm, and this unit gets +1 for every 5 damage to your base. Super, super risky, but it is also super, super aggressive. Like I absolutely would put in the oh my gosh, that tank. I always forget the name of the tank that like readies at 15 damage.
Oh, the Gorilla Attack
but
Pod.
then
Gorilla Attack
yeah,
Pod.
yeah, the attack bot, yeah. I think that's like a staple for this particular deck. Could be really, really fun because it really just wants you to just be really aggressive with when attacking with units on there. I kind of almost wish that he also had a like a villainy aspect attached to it a little bit, because there's some dark side units I would love to add into his decks, into this particular deck, so that way he can take advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, it's about an average leader, I think. The dealing damage to yourself, so you can get an aggressive advantage, kind of feels like a big drawback. But I mean, if you're able to keep your opponent's side of the board clean without any units and just control that way and just deal damage to your opponents after that, and have a lot of overwhelm units on top of that to just keep on pushing and damage to your opponent's base, you might be able to do some work that way. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what people can build with Anakin.
Yeah, I think it's good. Again, people are also saying he's one of the best leaders for field. Like, he's a strong aggro. Like, if you have, I guess, the dream of 25 damage on your base, he does swing in. He's a 9/7 overwhelm, which is pretty substantial. Again, like the overwhelm is really nice with him because you get the +2 attack. The +2 extra reach is huge, right? Like, that's why like Tarkin and Moff Gideon or other like Rebel Assault, like that +1 extra attack is huge. +2 is really scary because now your C-3PO's hitting for 3. All of a sudden he's just taking out a battlefield marine or whatever. So I think he's good. I'll have to take a look to see how many like overwhelm cards there are like that, or things that get bonuses for on attacks. Yeah, that Gorilla Attack Pod though seems to be pretty spicy with them, because you just always like, because it's both bases, right? So if your base is over 15, hey, it just comes in ready.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to be able to play smaller bases with him, or are you going to have to always go 30 health?
I think you got to go always 30 health, because it's just it's easy for it's a much shorter goal for your opponent to make up that difference, unless you're also throwing in some restore on the top end to restore like damage from your base to keep it from going over constantly. But that's kind of risky. I mean, I'm sure there'll people who try it out, but I think that just makes it easier for your opponent to knock you out with a big hit, especially if they're playing Gideon.
I'm not sure if you're going to run like 25, 26 health bases, right? Because the restore seems really good with him, as like, just like a Queel, like just restore 1, right? Just so you get his ability off and you only take 1 damage. Arcs, that kind of stuff. But like the blue 25 health base security complex, you just give a shield to a non-leader. Okay, not worth the 5 damage. And then like Pow City, it's 26 health base and your leader gets +1 health, right? Like, Anakin doesn't, I mean, cool, he's a 4/8 or more likely something like a 6/8, which is nice. But I think like blue might, it'd be pretty interesting, because just restoring seems really good, to just like kind of modulate and rein in the negative penalty while still hitting really hard to the other bonus units.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't dislike him, but I just don't think he's like insanely amazing, I guess.
Hey, your clone troopers hit for 4, man.
That's true.
It's pretty scary.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
I think he's above average. We'll see if
Oh.
he's like incredible.
Yeah, I think I need to put more of him on the board and like actually test him, and see where it goes. Well, let's get to the other cards. So
26
we
other
have
cards.
the next one. We have a whole bunch of different ones. So I don't know. So Alex, you could pick which one you want first. You don't have to go in order. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I'll take clone because I kind of already talked about it a little bit. So you got clone. It's a clone card, surprisingly. It is a 007, just green aspect, but that's a little bit misleading. It reads, you may have this unit enter play as a copy of a non-leader, non-vehicle unit in play, except it gains the clone trait and it is not unique. So one, I love the fact that there's like a may, so you could, I don't know, for some reason, just play the clone and have it immediately die if you don't want to clone anything. But yeah, that seems fun, right? Like you could be like, oh, I saw the sequel trilogy. I can clone my Snoke, and now everything gets -4/-4. Every non-leader
Oh,
gets
that's
-4/-4,
gross.
right? Or clone a Crate Dragon, or clone your opponent's cards. You can have they drop a Luke, they give your guy -6/-6. You play the clone and give their Luke -6/-6, right? Like, and the cool thing, I believe the devs already ruled on this stuff like Force Lightning, which removes the ability, doesn't revert it to the clone. It removes the ability of the cloned card. So, like, you
Okay.
don't actually end up doing like a weird 97th Legion thing where you can Force Lightning it and it just drops to 0 health and immediately dies. I think that's nuts. I mean, it is a legendary. I should probably mention that. And it's just
Yeah.
really, really cool. Presumably it also gets because it's entering play as a copy, so you get the one played as as long as they're not reinforcement walkers, right? Like you just can't clone vehicles, which makes sense. It is cool that they get the non-unit, like they don't have the unique traits, so you can do things like clone Obi-Wans, clone Snokes, clone literally whatever you want, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for me, I think the big thing is the fact that you could clone Crate Dragons. There's Zillow Beast, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You could clone that. You can clone, I don't know, like, I guess really those are the two big standout ones. But I mean, I don't know. How about I could clone them all? That's actually still pretty good too. Like being able to clone them all.
Clone a
Green
Palp-
Maul or Red Maul?
Yeah. Green Maul, I think, seems better just because it has the ambush piece on it. Like the Red Maul's good too. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but like I would like the Green Maul has the ambush or the overwhelm. So you're playing this card, and so the question becomes is like, when does the ambush trait get added? Right, like as soon as I play it, like do I get to immediately ambush with that card as well?
Assume so, because it's entering play as a copy of that. So you got the one plate effects, which includes ambush.
So like, I don't know. To me, it seems insane. Like that, just like I could play a Maul and then next turn play if that Maul doesn't. If you don't kill that Maul, that I just got to claim and play another Maul, and I can just ambush in and overwhelm again. Like I don't know that. This card seems like. We'll put it this
another
way.
Palpatine. Just do another 6 damage to the board.
Well, and if you have a timely, right, like you could timely out this thing, and then it becomes a Palpatine that does the damage, overwhelm, and like it's just crazy. Like there's just so many weird combinations that can come from this. I'll personally think I'm a little scared to see this card. And I'll tell you what, if you guys hate this card, you can send them to me. I'll pay you $2 a legendary to trade you other legendary. I'll happily take all of this. Like, I'll take all of the clones. I need like 10 of these just because I'll build so many decks with this card in. Because it's a 7, for Christ's sake, it's 7 cost.
So let's say you have a green deck because you're running clone, and you have a card called General's Blade, and it's attached to a Jedi unit. Then you could play clone for 5, and then copy. I mean, you have lower power stuff than do at 7, but you can copy like a Poe.
Mhm.
which seems really good.
Yeah.
Just there's a lot of things that like seem really silly with this. I like this a lot.
Yeah, this card, like, I don't know. To me, like, do you know what this card's not gonna like? Force Lightning. Maybe Force Lightning will finally become a thing because we'll just kill
So
the text on
you
it.
missed entirely my explanation why Force Lightning doesn't do anything against clone.
I guess, yeah. Why would it not do anything?
It reverts. It removes the ability of the clone card. Doesn't revert it back to a clone.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
I know.
Yes.
Same
as
with
long
like
as you can-
imprisoned. Same with
Yeah.
imprisoned, where like it doesn't gain any abilities. It just loses the abilities of its clone.
crazy. All right, I'm gonna take 5s next because I'm a little excited for 5s. He's a 5/5/5 yellow, so they stayed on theme
Nailed
with
the
him. Yep, love it, love that. It's a Saboteur card. When you play an event, you may put a clone unit from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. I do not think like this is some crazy overpowered thing, but the ability to put a card on your deck to give a middle finger to mill and then to turn around and be able to draw a card just is really good. Like you're just drawing a card. And this is every time, as long as you have clone units, I guess, in your discard. But you just like Merry Christmas, it's a free draw for a card. It's like Dr. Pershing, but I get a unit on the board and I just have to play an event, which I'm probably playing anyway. And this feels like this goes in the Palpatine deck. That's what this kind of feels like. This is could be a good tutoring card for Palpatine. Could also be a tutoring card for Yoda too. But I think I feel this is a pretty solid card overall. I like that it has Saboteur on it too because it makes it spicy because of that.
Yeah, I think it's a really solid card. I enjoy it. I don't think it gives the middle finger to mill because you're still drawing a card, so you go card neutral. But it's pretty nice. I like him.
Well, in my Nalisay card deck, this card will be very good. Can you think about it this way. You have clone. It's a clone unit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they kill your clone,
Great.
you could just use the stupid thing. You could use this card to bring it, play an event and bring this card back on the bottom of your deck. You just got to find a way to tutor through your deck now.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
guess if you're playing villain green, you just got Vader then.
Yeah, I mean, you have like I guess like search your feelings too to shuffle your deck if you really wanted, but just, like you have like R2D2, the new one, the yellow one, where you can start like digging deeper, right? But you also, yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of cool things you could do. There's a lot I like with them. I think it's just really interesting. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I do too. All right, JJ, tell us about Saw.
All right, so Saw, we got a 6-cost red and heroic aspect with 4 attack, 8 health. Comes with the rate 2, making this a 6 attack when you're attacking with him. And it reads, on attack, if your base has 15 or more damage on it, deal 1 damage to each enemy ground unit. So he is a droid token killer. He comes in and just wipes the board immediately. Definitely a card I would consider for like ECL to send in there to like take out a big unit. I mean, he's attacking with 6 and he has 8 health. He can punish pretty hard if you absolutely need to take out a unit on there. Definitely something I would put in an Anakin deck for sure. And yeah, I would almost consider it out of aspect for Maul as well, just to give it overwhelm on top of that. But definitely really good for an Anakin deck just to get in and deal some serious damage.
Yeah, I think he's got really solid stats. 6/8 when attacking for 6 is pretty solid, and then just the ability to do 1 damage to all the enemy units there is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to cover the most controversial card somehow of this set?
I'll do it because I don't think there's any controversy. It's Droidica Securitia, or whatever you want to call it. It's a security droid. It's a 6-cost blue villain. It's a 4/6 Sentinel. It's got exploit 2. It's a separatist droid. It's okay. I don't think it's very great. It's not the end of the world. I don't give a crap that it doesn't have a shield. You can give it a shield if you want with Moment of Peace and call it a day. Like everybody complaining about it is driving me nuts because like I get that it has a shield on it, and like they could have done something fancy with it instead of putting like the exploit thing on there. They could have put on there something where if you control another droid unit, this unit gets a shield or something like that. They could have done it differently, but I don't care. It's a comment, for Christ's sake. Like, whatever. This is going to be great in sealed. Like, this card will be just like very, very good if you're going to play villain blue and sealed. So
People are up in arms that it doesn't have a shield, but they're totally fine with Palpatine being a hero.
I'm okay with Palpatine being a hero too, but I don't understand why.
I know. I just funny.
So for me, honestly, I felt like this should have been a double-sided card, right? Because you can have the ball form, where it just something ridiculous, and then flip it in order to get the shield and Sentinel and stuff. Like I think that's how it should have been, because you have to actually deploy the Droideka in order for it to actually do anything. But yeah, honestly, I don't see too much of an issue with this particular card. There are a lot of leaders that are able to, deploy droid token units for cheap, and then you could just exploit it and play this Droideka for 2. Pretty decent for what you can do. It's nice to see the Droidekas in the game. Just wish they had a little bit more offense. It would have been nice to see like a 5/5. But hell, I'll take it for 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean the real thing is like being able to play it at 2. Even playing it at 4 isn't bad. A 4/5 Sentinel for 4 is okay. But playing it for 2 is really nice. So you get that. Like if you run a bunch of exploits and you need a Sentinel in blue, and you somehow don't have all the other 6 or 7 Sentinels in blue villainy, I guess you could use this.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is. So, all right. Next, what's the next one we got?
So we got the 8-cost Guerrilla Insurgency tactic card here, coming in with a single red aspect, and it reads: each player defeats a resource they control and discards 2 cards from their hand and deal 4 damage to each ground unit. Could be okay. I feel like Super Laser Blast is better, but sure. I mean, you're making your opponent discard 2 cards and defeat a resource. If you're able to probably ramp and get up to 8 before your opponent can, you can like really mess up your opponent's tempo by like destroying a lot of their units, especially if you have no units available. It could be decent. There's some cases for it, but still, I think Super Laser Blast probably is better for the cost. If you don't care about discarding cards from your opponent's hand.
Yeah, I don't know the point of this card. Like, I don't know what it's trying to do. Like,
you do it from your own hand as well, right?
Yeah. You both discard 2. You both dump a resource. I mean, like, if you're fine, if like that's your only card in your hand, I guess. Like, yeah.
I mean, Kylo wants it, I guess.
For 8. That's the thing. Like, sure, you do 4 damage to each ground unit, and you set them back a turn, I guess, and dump 2, but it's at 8 cost. So I really don't know what they're trying to do with this. Maybe someone could think of something that's really good. I don't quite see it. At least not yet. I don't know.
I don't think this is good, but that's just. I mean, I guess if you have like a hand disparage deck, then fine. But
sure, but like Force Surrender costs 6.
I know.
Right? And Pillage is 4. I don't know. Like, if you just hate that much, I guess.
Yeah. I personally, I don't think this is that good, but that's just.
So up next, we have Roger. We actually got a Roger card. It is a 1-cost blue upgrade. It gives your unit +1/+1. And the ability, when defeated, attach this upgrade to a friendly battle droid token. So if you have a bunch of battle droids, now they're 2/2s. Or one of them is a 2/2 until it dies, and another one becomes a 2/2 until it dies. Also, kind of spicy in a Finn deck. because you can just kill that upgrade, give a unit a shield, and put it on another battle droid token. So if you manage to get a lot of battle droid tokens in Hero Finn, I guess you deserve that. But like it seems fine. I'm not sure if it would run in every battle droid token style deck, but just giving a +1/+1 where it just continues to come back is pretty nice.
So
Yeah.
honestly, I would actually run this on a Gar Saxon deck
gonna
because
say.
all he needs is each just a friendly upgraded unit. So you can just constantly, if you're able to find a way to like just constantly have token units out there or droid token units specifically, with Gar Saxon, you're making them into 3/3s. And they're pretty cheap so far from what we've seen from the cards that help you like deploy multiple copies of them. So yeah, definitely something to look out for in a Gar Saxon deck to add on.
Yeah, I was gonna say if your Gar Saxon can get a bunch of battle droids, you might as well run that in there.
So you can equip more than one copy of this on the same droid, right?
Yeah, it's not unique.
So if you have 3 copies of this on a single battle droid token, and then you're constantly shifting those 3 to another battle droid token, you're making 5/5s constantly with each
Yeah.
battle droid token.
I guess. Or if you
Oh,
have more
man.
than one, you can disperse all 3 of them, which would be kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's what you do. You have 4 Roger Rogers, right? You have 1 attack for 5. You disperse it 1 to each. Then you have 1 attack for 2. Then you give it to someone else, and they attack for 3. Then you give it back to the last person. And they
Oh
attack for 4.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then
Yeah.
you run out of battle droids and you cry.
All right. Let's do the next one. I'm not going to do whatever that name of that assault is because I don't want to try and name it. So I'm going to do In Defense of Camino. It is a Republic card, by the way, event. It is a green for this phase. Each friendly Republic unit gains Restore 2, and when defeated, creates a clone trooper token. I would absolutely love to be able to play this the turn that they decide to Super Laser Blast me, because everything just comes back. But whatever, I guess. I don't know. I think it's okay. Like, I think it's an okay card. I don't think it's great. I think it's gonna have like situational. And of course, obviously, everything has to be Republic, but that doesn't seem to be like a hard thing to get right now. So if you're gonna build an all Republic deck, I don't know. Seems okay.
Yeah, I think if you're building like a Republic tribal, that card's really, really good. The 4 costs a little bit iffy for something where you need bodies on the ground to do Restore 2, but man, that's a lot of Restore if you have like 3 people.
Yeah. So I think it's, like I said, I think it's okay.
Also, the hyperspace card is going to look just absolutely sick on that because that is just like crimson everything, and I love it.
Yeah, that's gotta be great. Yeah.
Except for he's tossing a thermal detonator very close to the other trooper, right? Like that's what that looks like. And that's Cody, isn't it? Isn't that Cody?
Yeah, kneeling down, that looks like Cody.
And he looks like he's tossing a thermal detonator really close to like them. So I don't know.
It's so that's the defective clone that does the armory stuff in Clone Wars, and he's tossing him a thermal detonator so that way he can toss it out because he's providing him the weapons.
Maybe he's
okay.
betraying everyone and killing everyone.
Yeah. I think that's the episode where the Tridents attack Camino, and they're like
that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So
all right, next one.
Well,
So-
JJ, you got it.
yeah, I got it. So
It's a
I'll take
disaster.
Pyrrhic Assault, which is indeed a disaster for for a double aspect green. It is a disaster. It reads, for this phase, while each friendly unit gains when defeated, deal 2 damage to an enemy unit. It sucks because I would love to put this in a droid token deck, just so you can suicide bomb them as you need to. And since it's easier to get a lot more of those droid tokens out there, I mean, sure, you could play this out of aspect and pay potentially 7 for that particular card. But I mean, sure, it definitely has some uses, especially if you have a very strong Sentinel deck. You're able to force your opponents to go into your Sentinels, and if they die, they deal 2 damage to another enemy unit there. Definitely create some attrition for that. But just that steep cost of that double aspect, I think, kind of gatekeeps it from other cards that are cheaper that can do more things. But if you're playing a double green deck, definitely something to keep in mind to put into your decks, especially for those big turns when you know that your opponent's going to come in and start eliminating some of your units.
It is worth noting it is a legendary, which is kind of rough.
Yeah.
But hey, you remember back in set 1 where they had Krell, where everyone, like all your
Yes.
units are defeated, you just draw a card.
hmm
So just do both, right? Get the draw a card and just do 2 damage every time, or to a unit every time someone dies. Also, that works with exploit, right? Because it's when defeated. So you exploit some people, and then you start doing 2 damage to the enemy units. Seems pretty nice.
Yeah, this will be very good in like a green pelt deck, or maybe I could finally get like Hondo deck, like an all green Hondo deck off the ground with this. I don't know.
That seems serviceable. Like, it's okay. I'm sure if you manage to do something like kind of around this card, it might be really, really good.
All right.
So up next, we have the Resolute. It is a 10-drop red hero card. It's an 8/8. It has the Republic Vehicle and Capital Ship traits. This card gets -1. -1 to play. So it costs 1 less to play for every 5 damage on your base. The subtitle is Under Anakin's Command, so I guess that's thematic. And then when played on attack, deal 2 damage to an enemy unit and each other enemy unit with the same name as that unit, and is a legendary. I think that's really cool. Granted, you're probably not going to play it for like 5. But I'm assuming the average cost is probably going to be like 7, maybe 6 if you hit 20 on your base. But just like 2 to an enemy unit and each other enemy unit with the same name. Man, if you just call like battle droid token, right? Or a clone trooper token, you just wipe every single one of them out.
Yeah.
Or even more bizarre things like if they got the 3 cost and the 6 cost Millennium Falcon. Or both Echoes or something like that, or a couple R2D2s. Probably token units, but
I appreciate that clarification because that's what I was going to ask. Like in the cards that are multiple copies of in different forms, even though they have different subtext, they would still be considered the same unit with the same name, right?
They have the same name. They're not the same unit.
Yeah.
They have the same name.
Yeah.
So like Regional Governor like works the same way where it like blocks both
Yeah.
Falcons because you don't have to do the subtitle.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
know the
cool.
best is going to be once you play clone. You play clone, right?
Well, you can't clone vehicles.
No. I'm saying is you play clone and then you play this Resolute and you can just name clone and it just like you can name whatever they clone and it wipes both of them off the board.
Yeah. If they cloned like Snoke or something, right?
Yeah.
And then you could just name Snoke, and then you do 2 damage to each Snokes. But as one played on attack, it's interesting. I don't know how incredible it is. Like an 8/8 is still pretty beefy, especially in space.
I think the big thing, right, is that the big thing here is the fact that we're getting like bigger capital ships in Hero now, which we haven't seen a lot of.
Yeah.
So like we have the big plays, so it's allowing for you to build a deck now in Hero that is going to go bigger versus just being some crazy stupid aggro thing. You can now build control decks a little bit more, and you can probably build like more mid-range with some like end game to kind of fight the Bobas, and this card's going to do it. So
I think it's cool.
all right, let's move on. A lot of other cool stuff we got here. We got a a Grievous reassembly. It's a supply card, by the way. By the way, just it's a supply card. That's pretty
Like
cool.
resupply.
Like resupply. Yep. This one is heal 3 damage from a unit and create a battle droid token for the 2 costs. I don't know. That's pretty good. And the artwork is amazing because it's a stupid little Dr. Droid putting Grievous back together. So I love it. I originally was not for building a yellow-blue Grievous deck, but this card kind of makes me move that direction a little bit more. I like it a lot personally. Like especially if you have you make something a Sentinel with Grievous, a droid a Sentinel, and then you just heal from it, and then create another battle droid in the process for 2. So I don't know. It's on curve. It's not above curve, but it's a really good card, I think.
It seems fine. Yeah, like heal 3 is okay. It's a repair, but you also create a battle droid token, which is why it costs 1 more than repair. Seems serviceable.
Yeah. All right, JJ, what's the next one?
I'm going to take the 3-cost Huang that comes in with 2 attack, 4 health. It's a Jedi and a droid, which is interesting that has a Jedi droid. And it reads, when played, choose another friendly unit. While this unit's in play, the chosen unit gets +2/+2, which is pretty great because it's not a one-time effect. It's just an ongoing effect while Huang is there. So you can play this behind like a good Sentinel unit and just keep it there. The great part about this is that you can play this in dark side decks, especially Palp, for instance. Like if you play the Dark Trooper Sentinel unit and then just buff it for 2/2, making it a 5/5, and it makes it extra tanky. Just being able to absorb a lot more damage that way, that's really great. Or even the officials or the red coat,
The Emperor's Royal Guard.
Yeah, the Emperor's Royal Guards as well. In a Palp deck, that can make that really strong as well. I'm just kind of sad that I don't see his extra 2 arms behind his body popping out like Grievous, like in combat mode. But hopefully we'll get like a different version of him down the line. So
I think the very important thing is that it's a Jedi unit. So you could just slap on General's Blade.
yes.
So then he becomes a 5/7 that makes your next unit cost 2 less after he attacks. And is also buffing another unit that's +2/+2. Like an
all the
Echo
more
or
reason.
something.
Yeah, I was gonna say all the more reason to put him behind some Sentinel units.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
this goes in my Ahsoka deck.
Yeah, so that's the that General's Blade. It's like an early General's Blade thing, right? Kind of like how the Guardian of the Wills is like a very early Force unit. So
yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, JJ, it's not weird that he's Jedi. It's weird. It would have been weird if he had the Force tag.
Oh yeah. Good point.
So the last one in this row we have is the Padawan Spider. It's just your basic Aether's Right. It is a 2-cost blue space unit, and it is a 1/3. It has the Jedi, Republic vehicle, and fighter traits. And this while you control a Force unit or a Force upgrade, which I don't think we have any yet, it gets +1/+1. So if you're running kind of a heavy Force deck, which you kind of do in blue, like Hero, it is just a neutral blue, so I guess you can, if you have some of it in Villain, that's cool. But yeah, it becomes a 2/4 for 2, which is fine. It seems okay. Seems, again, if you're building a Force deck, sure. Like if you got a Yoda out now, this thing's a 2/4. Yay.
It's okay. It's whatever. I
The
don't know. I don't
4
think
health is nice when it's upgraded.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Are lightsabers Force upgrades technically?
I don't think they say the Force on them. I don't recall any of that kind of stuff. But, So what's next?
All right. So the next one is, that we have, which I'm very sad we didn't get a Darth Dathomir, some sort of a Mother Talzin card.
Yeah.
But we did get Daughters of Dathomir, which is cool. It is a 4 resource blue 3/5 force with the night trait again. This is a very basic card that says when this unit is undamaged, it gains restore 2. It's just another force unit. I don't think it's very good personally. It's conditional. The probability that it's going to not be damaged unless it's behind a bunch of sentinels. But there is a probability, right, that you could be playing a lot of droids and they have to kill the droids because you have some crazy, stupid mechanic. And therefore, this may stay alive longer, but I don't know.
Or you play it and then they're just like, oh god, the restore, let me attack into this thing instead of their
Yeah.
base or some other good unit.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a 4 straight. It's 3/5 for 4s, not awful stats when you get the restore 2.
I mean, this just begs to have that that IG medical droid that for 1 cost in blue,
The
just so
B1.
you can, yeah, the B1, yeah, and just constantly heal it. I mean, it's a passive sentinel at that point.
Sorry, the 2-1B, not the B1.
Yeah, and but other than that, I mean, I kind of agree with you, Chris. I think there's better units at 4 costs that you can put in a blue deck that could do a lot more. So yeah.
I think it's the 4 straight that's the important thing there.
Yeah.
All right. Next one.
So next one here, we got the 2 cost Clear the Field, which is a tactic card. It is a yellow and heroic aspect, and it reads: choose a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less, return it and each enemy non-leader unit with the same name as it to the owner's hands. Which is a great way to clear a bunch of clone tokens or battle droid tokens and just get rid of them. So, yeah.
What's also very interesting, as I was mentioning things that have the same name, like you can have the 3 cost Millennium Falcon and the 6 cost Millennium Falcon, or like the 2 cost Echo and the 4 cost Echo. You can target the smaller unit and then bounce the larger unit as well.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So you can choose like the 2 cost Echo and then bounce the 2 and the 4 cost Echo, kind of bypassing a little bit of its restrictions, which I think is cool. But also, yeah, it's just like a token clear too, because you know, whenever you bounce them, they fizzle and are just completely left to the ether. I think they get snapped. That's what I'm
They
picturing.
get snaps, yeah.
I like it a lot. I think it's really cool. I think it's a pretty solid card, especially at 2 cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just cool that it's in yellow hero and I can play it in my Palp deck now. So
Exactly, yeah.
I'm just kidding, Alec.
I mean, you start destroying any hero leaders or units. So up next we have Strategic Acumen. It is a 1 cost green upgrade. It gives your unit a +0/+2, and the attached unit gains action exhaust. Play a unit from your hand. It costs 1 less. It is your My Alliance Dispatcher now card with 2 extra health, which seems okay. Like it's kind of wonky because like you still exhaust the unit, so it's like it's got to be one that you don't necessarily want to attack with. So that's a little bit strange.
Yeah, probably like a Proxima Midnight or a the Brainworm card, you know, something that you don't necessarily want to attack. That's a good way to just bring out more units.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's okay for a 1 cost. I think we've seen upgrades that just don't do much, right? And I think that's the bigger thing. Is like, is it gonna be effective at all? I
mean, I think Lady Proxima is like probably the best card you can do for that.
Yeah,
maybe like a Bazine because you already like played her and the 1 attack ain't doing much. So,
Yeah,
but again,
it might.
aligns
It
to
might.
match your body.
All right, so let's go to the next ones we got. Got a couple of tanks here. One really cool looking tank. Looks like a bug. I'm gonna pick Reprocess though, which is another supply card. It's a 3-cost green villain card. Choose up to 4 units in your discard pile, put them on the bottom of your deck in a random order, and create that many battle droid tokens. I think this is okay. Like, I don't think this is like insanely like amazing, but I mean, again, this is great. This will go really good in my Kira deck when people try to mill me. So, you know, like, whatever, cool. I'll be able to put all my stuff in there, search my feelings. I don't know. It's another way to be able to make sure your deck doesn't run out of cards, and you get to create battle droid token. So it's 3 costs for 4 if you have 4 units in there. So at the beginning of the game, it's probably not very great, but towards the end of the game, this could be pretty good.
Interesting that you think it's just okay. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, especially for like sideboard stuff, right? If you go against mill, this is a very strong anti-mill card. But also, like, droid deployment is, pay 2, get 2 battle droid tokens. This one you can pay 3, get 4. So if you're looking at it as just like, I'm just creating 4 battle droid tokens card, it's not bad, especially because granted you lose out on things, I guess, if you have like Palpatine's return and stuff that interacts with your discard pile, but putting them at the bottom of your deck is, again, anti-mill is really it's a really good anti-mill card.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably above average, but again, it depends on, I guess, if mill is really strong strategy in this set. But worst, I mean, like, common scenario, it's probably like just pay 3, create 4 battle droid tokens.
Yeah.
And actually, you have to have units in your deck because you're not returning events or whatever. So like, if you have like a hard control where you don't have a lot of units, that's probably not what you want to do.
Yeah. All right. So the next one we got here is, of course, Patrolling AAT. It's a villainy aspect only, coming in with 4 attack, 5 health, and it is a sensor unit that has the Separatist vehicle and tank tags on it. I mean, probably going to see quite a few of these, very common, but honestly, just it feels overpriced for what it can do. Sure, I mean, you're probably going to include them in your deck in a sealed event, just because you have to. But yeah, nothing spectacular.
It's slightly overcosted because it can go into any villainy deck, right? So like, you pay a little bit extra for that, because if you're running yellow red, you generally don't have like a lot of sentinels, right? So this is a way of getting sentinels in there. So yeah, it's a 4 or 5 for 5 is okay, or 4 or 5 sentinel, it's okay. It's not a Chilton, it's not a super commando troopers or whatever, but you can play it in any villainy deck.
Yeah, I don't know, it's not my thing, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
Yep, we have the Heavy Persuader tank. It is a 7-cost red ground unit. It is a 6/5 with the traits of Separatist, Droid, Vehicle, and Tank. It is Exploit 2, and when played, you may deal 2 damage to a ground unit. So if you manage to exploit 2 off of it, I mean, playing it for 3 is kind of silly,
Really
right?
strong. Yeah.
For a 6/5 body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems solid. I'm not sure if you like, it's hard to like gauge on how well or how much like units you're going to be able to generate by the time that you want to drop something like this. So I think it's fine. The Exploit 2 to drop it down to 3 is nice for a 6/5 unit.
Yeah, I think it's, again, it's a later, like, if you have a bigger hand, it's a later decision. You can bring it in for 3, still play something else. I don't know if at the beginning of the game it's going to be super good, but we've seen some removal and some different cards that are coming in that can help take care of some of this stuff. It is nice. It's above open fire, baby. Right. So like, I mean, at least for Christ's sake, you can't use open fire on it.
And you can't force choke it because of the vehicle. So you have to use like takedown or something.
So, I mean, I think my favorite part of this is that I want to run this in a Han deck, even if it's out of aspects, just so I can exploit 2 units and deal 2 damage to it.
Out of aspect, JJ. It's just red.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. It is not an aspect. You're right. But yeah, putting this in a red Han deck, just reducing it by 6, and play this for 1 cost and with only 2 damage on it. Yeah, just bonkers.
Well, you could play that battle droid, the create 2 battle droid card token or whatever, and then you could play this right after it, and then call it a day.
Yeah.
And then it'll have 3 damage on it, and I will just kill it with pretty much anything with my High Blown Enforcer, and then it'll hit all my shields, and then I'll still have a unit, and you'll have nothing, and you'll be very sad that you wasted 2 turns playing this. All right. All right, I'll just let Alex go first. Alex can have the first one.
Cool. I can finally have a cool card.
I know what one you want. So.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Zillow Beast. Yeah, I did it. So you get the Zillow Beast. It is unique. I haven't seen anything, so I assume it's not just a normal creature like a Krayt Dragon. I assume this is some sort of crazy Godzilla thing. So it is the Zillow Beast. It is a 9-cost blue ground unit. It is a 10/10 creature. When played, to give each enemy ground unit -5, -0 for this phase. And when the regroup phase starts, which is like after everyone's claimed everything, you heal 5 damage from this unit, which seems really silly.
And this isn't a legendary, folks, somehow.
Right. It is a rare. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like Blue's Krayt Dragon, if you're not running Krayt Dragon in a blue deck. I think it's cool. Like the giving each ground unit a -5 for this phase is like very strong, because like what are you gonna do at that point? Like maybe attack for 1 or 2, and then you have to like deal with it. And if you have something like Maul, leader, you can just give it overwhelm when it swings.
Yep,
kind of make it a Krayt Dragon, and then you swing into a unit and you do the overwhelm, and then it heals 5. Good luck.
So seeing this creature, it gives me hope that we're gonna see a leader unit for Danny Trejo's character from Book of Boba Fett.
You're not getting elite. No,
Wrangler.
Just stop.
Just so we can have a creature deck to play with nothing but creatures, and they get like a discount or something like that. Because man, like this could be great.
Okay. You can have that leader, but you're not getting Danny Trejo. That is not. They're not going to make some like character that was in the movie for what? Like I was even in there for a minute, maybe a minute and a half.
Boss. Kidman Boss hasn't even been on in just 1 episode of Clone Wars. That's it.
He has a whole effing book. He has a book, JJ.
Is an actor who portrayed an unidentified Rancor keeper in Chapter 3.
Yes. Yeah, you're not getting a lead. Just shut up, you're not getting a leader. Good God.
Oh, Robert Rodriguez directed that episode. That makes so much more sense.
Yes, that's why.
Yeah, so that thing's cool. You can clone it as well if you really want to just like drop that, and then next turn give everyone -5 again, and then just swing in for 10. It's cool. It's a nice finisher. I don't think it's like as good as a Krayt Dragon for sure. Because there's ways of dealing with it. You know, you have Fell the Dragon, Vanquish, Rivals Fall, all that kind of stuff in blue. And you don't really have too much of a penalty like you do with Krayt Dragon if you try to Rivals Fall a Krayt Dragon. So it's good enough. I think it's cool. Again, it's like a finisher. It's a little bit rough, like blue villainy, I would think, because like you got Snokes and you got Avengers around that cost, but it is just a blue, so like maybe it's a solid like finisher in something like a Ray deck, or whatever else blue hero you're trying to do. Yeah. Kind of silly in Yoda as well, if you really want to take out whatever they have when you flip out Yoda. I guarantee you will kill them.
Yeah, I think the big thing with this and this like so this like the clone if you clone this, it's even more hilarious. Just as an FYI, just because that's what Palpatine did. If you clone it with Palpatine, bonus points for you. You should just win the game. Because that would mean you would be like off aspect in one of the two costs of it. But I think the idea here, right, is that like in the show, like we have this like epic beast that shows up in different portions, and Palpatine makes a thing about it. Like this is like he wants to essentially save it, and that's kind of how I titled the episode tonight specifically to talk about that, right? And you would just say sacrifices aren't made in vain, but they kind of are, but they aren't if you have a backup copy of Azilla Dragon. So
you don't have to play clone off aspect if you run green villain Palp.
All right. I was talking about brand new Palpatine, but that's okay. What are we going to call him? Chancellor? We're going to have to call him Chancellor, I think.
Yeah. Also, of note, going back to Palpatine, the Emperor's Royal Guards specifically say Emperor Palpatine and not Chancellor Palpatine, so you don't actually get the +1
bonus
with it.
Yeah.
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right. I will pick Shadowed Intentions. It is a 3-cost yellow upgrade that says attached unit. This unit cannot be captured, defeated, or returned to its owner's hand by enemy card abilities. So it basically is a TIE Phantom.
Yes, it's a TIE Phantom.
Well, it's different than TIE Phantom. TIE Phantom can be bounced. This one can't be bounced, but they can be damaged by enemy card ability, so you can still get hit with like open fire.
Until you put Boba Fett's armor on Boba, and then this. And
granted, he can't defeat them with open fire, but you can damage them with open fire. There's like a distinction there. It's really weird.
Yeah, but how are you going to kill them then?
I'm just saying you
have
can
to
damage
kill
them
them with a unit, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
or you play an upgrade removal thing and then kill them, but
that's what you have to do. You just play upgrade removal, period. That's just what it's for.
But yeah, it's like a slightly different TIE Phantom in a 3-cost upgrade form.
Yeah. It's not as good as this should have been a 2-cost. But yes, give it to frickin' Boba, and don't give it to Boba.
Again, you can still damage them and swing in with the unit. Force choke them for 5.
All right, so the next one here we got is the 5-cost Death by Droids tactic card. It is a single blue aspect, and it reads defeat a unit that costs 3 or less to create 2 battle droid tokens. Definitely like this a lot. It feels a bit overcosted, but the fact that you're able to create 2 battle tokens on top of defeating a unit that costs 3 or less can be pretty nice, especially when you're like trying to take out a pesky, cheap sensitive unit that's getting in the way. I would actually consider like trying to make like a yellow blue deck, maybe with like Boba, just so I can have Bib Fortuna and bring this down to like a 4-cost, and have like extra battle droid tokens for that. So definitely probably will see some play in some very particular decks, but it's just a nice way to defeat a unit, a cheap unit, and then get 2 droid tokens on top of that.
Yeah, it seems okay. Like calculated lethality costs 4 and it defeats a that's like 3 or less, and that doesn't really get played, but getting 2 battle droid tokens might be okay. Hyperspace version of this card would look amazing.
Yeah.
Just like the red.
It's got everything I want. Mono color and lasers shooting off the side of the card. That's all I require.
Fair.
But yeah, it seems okay at best.
All right. Alex.
You know what? I'll just take Finn. We'll do it. So we have Finn, the great hero of the Clone Wars. He is a 3/4 for 3. He has a double blue aspect. He's got a fringe and trooper traits. And when this unit completes an attack, choose a unique unit for that phase. If damage would be dealt to that unit, prevent 1 of that damage. I don't know. He seems Okay, one, I've seen that he's doing like that Arthur like angry hand pose, and I can't unsee it now. So that's all I see with him. But you know, I guess if you have a named Sentinel like Chewbacca, I guess like Chewbacca leader, um, it would be kind of interesting. It doesn't work for himself. It's not an on attack either, so it's like he has to live through the attack. It's got to be a unique unit, which is awkward when you're playing him for 3. Yeah, he seems. I don't know. Maybe there's something there, but like it doesn't really quite look that way.
Yeah.
I don't see anything in here personally. I don't see anything different. Like there's so many other cards I could play for 3. So I mean he's trooper, I guess, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you want to play an all blue Finn deck, you could put Finn in there and it'd be very thematic, right? You know.
Is it thematic because he just doesn't do anything at all?
Yep.
It's kind of a big deal, guys. Yes.
Yeah, this one's on the run, so you know.
I wish
right.
Finn was good.
Yeah, me too. I was kind of disappointed to see that yet again he gets like a not a great showing.
He'll get
so
better
far
over
for
time.
him. Hopefully. So the next one we got here is the 1 cost Unmasking the Conspiracy card, coming with a single aspect yellow. Rates discard card from your hand. If you do, look at an opponent's hand and discard a card from it. I mean, could be really strong, right? I mean, you type this in with like Bazine, you force them to discard a good card early on, then you tack this on again and discard another card from their hand. You can really mess up your opponent's opening starting hand there, and it's very cheap for 1. Yeah, you're going to discard a card from your hand for that as well. But I mean, when you're looking at like mill decks, this can absolutely be really, really good. And definitely we'll probably see some play alongside Kylo, just because this is just another way to discard a card from your hand. Especially if you have a his TIE Silencer right off the bat, just being able to discard that from your hand, really good. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not great to 2 for 1 yourself.
Yeah.
And this doesn't seem quite like the card game where like getting the hand knowledge and also dumping 1 is that super impactful right now, game breaking. But yeah, I mean, like Kylo Yellow seems like the most natural fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish that that semi-looking BD droid that's hanging up there would gotten a little more love, but yeah.
All right, let's go on to Sly Moore. It is a 3 cost, 3/3 yellow Republic official because they put everything in uniform sets, it seems. When played, take control of an enemy token unit, ready it. At the start of the regroup phase, that token's unit takes control of it.
I doubt that.
My guess is you ready it and you kill something with it, you don't ever give it back. So, and if I'm a Palpatine, I'm just gonna gonna swing with it and then pelp it. So, I don't know this card. I hate saying this card seems really good in Palpatine, but it really seems good in Palpatine. Like this seems like if you want to play yellow Palp, this is a great card
It's
now.
a 3 cost official.
Yep, it's official. Yep. It's 3 costs. It's a 3/3. It's still something, so it's on theme for Pelp. I can then kill something with it, or I don't know.
Or exploit it away after you swung, which is also huge.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
Like
I think this is a really good card, actually.
Yeah. Also, Tanner, I noticed you said take control, but the card says take control. There's no R in there.
Okay, well,
I gotta call a judge.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, actually, it seems interesting to take a token unit, attack with a token unit, and then exploit 2 the token and Sly. I think that's a really solid tempo gain for you.
Yeah, for 3 costs.
So I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, because essentially, if you think about it, you pay 3, you get with the exploit 2 you have, right? Like that's 4. So you basically saved a resource.
Yeah. And also took away 1 of theirs, which is really nice. And then also swung in with whatever token unit they had. I mean, obviously this depends if there's going to be like a lot of tokens in the meta. I'm sure there will be at least one or two like tokens in general.
I think token units are going to be a bigger thing
Yeah.
than we originally gave it credit for. Yeah.
Well, all these cards now create token units, so.
Hey, there you go, Alex. Here's a good. This card works very well in Chancellor Pulp decks because you can steal the unit and then you get to activate him. There you go. So
only if it's a clone trooper, yeah.
Just saying.
It has to be a hero unit. So
I don't know. I like it. I actually like this card a lot. I think this is a good card. So.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I like that, just being able to exploit the card that you just stole from your opponent. It's like a more angry version of Traitorous.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right, so I'm going to quickly just go over here. It looks like we got a new reveal for a base called the Nest, which looks pretty cool. It's from Onderon, whatever, like, cool. We also got to see a preview of the Padme Leader showcase. It is what it is. If I get one and y'all want to buy it, just let me know. I'll immediately be selling it. So I don't understand it. It doesn't look like her, in my opinion. I don't know.
It looks more like Keira Knightley. You're right.
Just,
I get it. Hey, she was wasn't she the bodyguard in the first movie?
Yeah,
too?
she was.
Which
yeah,
is even
she was,
hilarious
yes.
because they just look exactly like the same in normal life.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think the art's fine.
Whatever.
All right, so I will take Jyn Erso. So I like this. This is actually one of my favorite arts that they put on the card for this set so far. Just because they got like
the motion blur.
Yeah, the motion blur and everything for her. So it looks really great. So this is a 2-cost Jyn Erso card that comes in with a red and heroic aspect with 3 attack, 2 health, rebel subtext there. It reads, while an enemy unit has been defeated this phase, this unit gets +1 attack and gains Saboteur. So definitely very aggressive. I would absolutely see this in as an add-on to a lot of Sabine decks that want to just get by a lot of Sentinel units and just do extra damage to your base. This card is definitely really good. Pretty cheap to get in as well. And if you can ambush it in, even better. So, yeah.
Yeah, it seems fine for a 2-drop. 2 health is a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
a lot of
look at Ketsu. We don't play a lot of Ketsu, and Ketsu lets you destroy an upgrade. So
well, that costs 2 or less. If it was not a 2 or less restriction, you'd see a lot more Ketsu.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, no, like it's fine. It's another Rebel card too, so I guess if you're the one person still trying out Leia, you can still do that.
All right, Alex, take us home with the last one.
Oh man, so this is Foresight, one of my favorite upgrades from X-Wing. It is a 1-cost blue upgrade card. It gives your unit +0/+2, and the attached unit gains when the regroup phase starts, and that is before drawing cards. Name a card, then look at the top card of your deck. If it's the named card, you may reveal it and draw it, which is really, really good with Yoda. Or if you have R2D2 unit, the 1-cost, not the 2-cost.
Yeah.
Or like C-3PO, or like whatever you did to look at the top. Ezra, anything that looks at the top part of your deck. Right? For a Cause I Believe In does that. Don't Get Cocky does. You're My Only Hope does. There's a whole bunch of cards, and also just an entire leader that lets you just draw an extra card essentially for free.
You could also do that with Thrawn, right? Thrawn's ability.
And
All right, just stop talking, AJ.
Hey, Thrawn Blue's a thing. Yeah, so like, I think it's a really cool card. I think it's for very incredibly specific decks, but in those decks, it'll be really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, just drawing cards is generally always very good. So,
Yeah, I like the card. I think it's really good too. I actually like this. This is obviously designed for a Yoda deck. That's what it's designed for. Well, all right, we're going to go ahead and we're gonna wrap up here. Like I was gonna cover the PQ stuff, but given that we had a little bit of some down issues earlier, and I don't want to keep everybody for another half hour, what we'll do is we're gonna come back. We'll record like a short planetary qualifier episode later this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll do it if the guys are available, or I'll do it myself if nobody's available. It'll just be me talking about nonsense. But we'll come back. I don't want to keep everybody any later tonight.
Technical issues, man.
Like some of me is like I'm very excited for PQ season. I was happy I got to play in it. I can say I did as well as one of the top members of KTOD at least. So like there you go. Like I think that we have seen Kira has demonstrated her strength, and we are seeing Boba like trend down a little bit, right? And so Boba's wasn't like the top thing. And so like everybody having a meltdown about let's ban Boba, let's ban Sabine. We could talk about this a little bit and say, hold on a second, maybe we need to wait a little bit. And in fairness, there's not that much money on the line, right? Like it's not like we're not sitting here going, there's $20,000 tournaments here that we're competing for. We don't have a pro circuit. And yes, it's annoying to have that conversation all the time. And yes, Alex went ahead and decided he was going to run a meta deck and then won his store showdown today with a meta deck. And so like what it's saying is that some of the stuff out there probably needs to be looked at a little bit, but set 3 might change enough of this that we weren't going to have to deal with just 2 leaders being the main thing. And anyway, so I think there's a bigger conversation. I do want to cover PQ stuff. I will apologize. I just don't want to do it tonight. I feel I want to go clean my system up a minute and get everything back into order, and then regroup. Like I'll regroup on Tuesday if the guys are able to, and we'll have like a shorter PQ episode that we could kind of talk through what the results were and stuff like that as well. Yeah, should be fun, right? It'll be fun. Be its own episode.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We will be back next weekend. We will be doing a way too early tier ranking where we'll probably spend a whole episode arguing with each other over tier ranking because JJ's going to think the Thrawn of the set. He's going to think Padme's S tier. I'm predicting it now. I'm predicting JJ's going to think Padme's S tier. I'm going to think Chancellor Pelp's S tier. And I don't know what Alex is going to think is S tier this time.
Pre-Vizsla all day. No one else get coming.
Pre-Vizsla is going to be Jesus. Pre-Vizsla is Alex's S tier. So we'll do. I don't know how we'll do this though. We'll do the same thing. We'll use our tier ranking. I find those episodes very fun. And then we can also, maybe if we have a few more decks that we're playing around with, maybe we'll present a few decks if we have them next week as well. And really, because I think the big thing is we could talk about once PQ season's done, we're into set 3, right? And it's like off to the races. So I think it's valid to know what we could have like a reflection discussion on what leaders we think are still going to be relevant and could benefit from some of set 3. Because I would not think Sabine's going to go away personally. I don't think Sabine's going to disappear specifically in this meta, but could be wrong. So who knows? All right. With that being said, thank you all. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the flippity flop.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.